You won't believe the new photos of Lindsay Lohan. They've got the entire internet talking. and, and no, it's not just about her comeback look. Something far more personal has everyone stunned. Lindsay Lohan, a name that once ruled the early 2000s with bright eyes, quick wit, and undeniable charm. From the moment she appeared on screen, the world knew she wasn't just another child actor. She was a star in the making. But the new photos making waves today show a side of her that even longtime fans didn't see coming. Let's rewind. Long before headlines and tabloid chaos, Lindsay was Hollywood's golden girl. The Parent Trap turned her into an overnight sensation. A freckled, red-haired powerhouse who could steal a scene with a smile. Then came Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, and the kind of fame that burns so bright it's impossible to ignore. She had it all: talent, beauty, and the charisma that made her the voice of a generation. NBUT with fame came the darker side of celebrity life. Cameras followed her every move, critics dissected her choices, and the pressure of perfection began to take its toll. In a world obsessed with her every mistake, Lindsay did what few could. She stepped back. She disappeared from the flashing lights to rediscover who she really was. Years passed, and the headlines faded. Some wondered if she'd ever return. Others quietly hoped she would, not as the party girl from the tabloids, but as the strong, grounded woman she was always meant to be. And then she did. Recently, the world saw a different Lindsay. In new photos that spread across social media, she's standing in soft sunlight, calm and confident, wearing a glow that can't be faked. At first glance, people thought it was another simple celebrity snapshot, but then they looked closer. There was something different, something gentle, yet powerful in the way she carried herself. And fans began asking questions. What changed? Why does she look so happy, so at peace? And that's when the truth surfaced. These weren't just casual photos. They were glimpses of a woman stepping into a brand new chapter of her life. NTHE Internet, of course, lit up with speculation. Some thought it was a movie shoot. Others believed it was a magazine spread. But those who followed Lindsay's journey from her early days knew this wasn't publicity. It was personal. After years of public battles and private healing, Lindsay Lohan is showing the world that she's in control of her story once again. And this time, it's not about fame, fortune, or red carpets. It's about something deeper, more human. She's embracing life on her own terms, and for the first time in a long while, she looks truly content. That's what makes these photos so powerful. They aren't just proof of a comeback, they're a reflection of growth. A reminder that behind every Hollywood headline is a person who's learned to stand tall again. Then as these new images circulate, fans can't help but smile. Because this isn't the Lindsay they once worried about. This is the Lindsay who found peace, purpose, and something worth celebrating. NBUT? What exactly sparked this transformation? What's the real story behind the pictures that have everyone talking? We're about to find out. The secret behind Lindsay Lohan's glowing smile is finally out, and it's the most heartwarming surprise her fans could have imagined. When the photos first surfaced online, people were quick to notice that something about Lindsay Lohan felt different, calmer, softer, almost radiant. But within hours, that quiet speculation turned into a wave of collective joy as the truth came to light. Lindsay Lohan is expecting her first child. Yes, the same young woman who once lit up the big screen with rebellious teenage roles is now preparing to take on the most meaningful role of her life, motherhood. And for fans who've watched her rise, fall, and rise again, the news feels nothing short of poetic. NTHE first set of photos that caught everyone's attention showed Lindsay standing outdoors, sunlight spilling over her shoulders, one hand gently resting on her belly. She wasn't dressed for attention, no designer gown, no red carpet sparkle. Just a simple, flowing dress and a peaceful smile that said more than any headline ever could. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Twitter, Instagram, and fan forums filled with comments of pure excitement. One fan wrote, "I grew up watching her. It feels like an old friend finally found her happy ending." Another said, "She's glowing. You can tell she's genuinely happy." And even celebrities who had once worked with Lindsay joined in the celebration. Heart emojis flooded her posts, and warm messages poured in from fellow stars. It wasn't just a celebrity pregnancy announcement, it was a collective sigh of happiness from an entire generation that had watched her story unfold in real time. And Lindsay herself? She handled it all with grace. A few days after the photos went viral, she confirmed the news on her social media, posting a simple message that melted hearts around the world. Grateful and beyond, excited for this next chapter. NNO dramatic statements. No over-the-top fanfare. Just authenticity. The kind that's been missing from celebrity culture for far too long. What's even more touching is how Lindsay has chosen to approach this new phase. Instead of turning it into a publicity event, she's embraced privacy, focusing on peace, family, and simplicity. Sources close to her have said that she spends most of her time at home in Dubai, where she lives with her husband, Bader Shammas. The couple married quietly, away from the cameras, and have been building a life filled with calm, love, and laughter. In a short video she shared not long after her announcement, Lindsay said, "I've learned so much over the years about myself, about what matters. This moment feels right. It's something beautiful, something I've been ready for." NTHAT's short clip was enough to move fans to tears. For many, it symbolized more than a pregnancy. It was proof that the actress who once seemed lost in the chaos of fame had found her way home, both literally and emotionally. NTHE contrast between her past and present couldn't be more striking. A decade ago, her name was often tied to headlines about scandal and struggle. But today, those same outlets are filled with admiration, celebrating her peace and maturity. It's as if the entire narrative has shifted from judgment to joy. And perhaps that's why this story has touched so many people. It's not just about Lindsay becoming a mother. It's about watching someone reclaim their story after years of public scrutiny. It's about redemption, growth, and the quiet power of starting over. NTHE photos, the calm, the glow, they all tell the same story. Lindsay Lohan has finally found her balance. She's no longer chasing Hollywood, she's chasing happiness. And as the world celebrates with her, one thing is clear: the Lindsay Lohan we see today isn't a comeback story. She's a completely new chapter, one that's been written with patience, healing, and love. NBUT, this chapter isn't just about what's happening now, it's also about how she got here. What was the turning point? How did she find peace after years in the spotlight? Let's dive deeper into the life Lindsay has built, away from the cameras, and closer to herself. After years of chaos in Hollywood, Lindsay Lohan has built a brand new life in one of the last places anyone expected, and it might just be the best decision she's ever made. When Lindsay Lohan quietly packed her bags and left Hollywood behind, few people realized she wasn't running away. She was rebuilding. For years, cameras chased her through crowded streets. Her name became synonymous with scandal, and every smile or stumble was dissected under the harsh glow of paparazzi flashbulbs. But somewhere between the noise and the exhaustion, Lindsay made a decision that changed everything. She chose peace. NTHAT peace came in the form of a move halfway across the world, to Dubai. Known for its golden deserts, futuristic skyline, and strict privacy laws, Dubai became Lindsay's sanctuary. It's a city where celebrities can walk through a cafe without being mobbed, where life moves at a calmer rhythm, and where personal space is actually respected. For Lindsay, that was exactly what she needed. In one of her interviews, she mentioned how much the quiet had done for her mind and heart. "I used to think being everywhere meant being successful," she said softly. "Now I realize being still is just as powerful." Those words struck a chord with her fans. After all, the Lindsay the world once knew was a whirlwind, always filming, always performing, always surviving. But the woman she's become is grounded, content, and deeply intentional about what and who she allows into her world. In Dubai, her life looks completely different from the glitz and drama of Los Angeles. Early mornings often start with meditation or beach walks instead of studio calls. She's spoken about learning new recipes, hosting small dinners for friends, and diving into books about motherhood. Family, health, and personal happiness have become her new priorities. NHER husband, Bader Shammas, has played a quiet but crucial role in this transformation. Unlike her previous relationships that unfolded in public, This one bloomed in private. They met in Dubai, fell in love away from flashing cameras, and married in a small, heartfelt ceremony. There were no tabloid exclusives, no paparazzi photos. Just two people choosing each other in peace. Lindsay once said that his steady presence helped her see love differently, describing it not as a movie moment, but as something calm, safe, and genuine. Together, they've built a life that's both simple and fulfilling. While Lindsay still receives offers from major studios, she's become selective, accepting only projects that align with her values. Her recent Netflix movie marked a gentle return to the screen, not for fame, but for passion. "I act because I love it," she explained in an interview, "but I don't want it to define me anymore." NTHAT's sense of maturity radiates through everything she does now. Gone are the rushed red carpets and chaotic media storms. In their place are quiet moments shared with family, late-night journaling sessions, and plans for the future, including motherhood. Friends close to her say she's been nesting with care, decorating the nursery herself, and spending hours researching parenting techniques. "She wants to do this right," one insider shared. "She's genuinely excited about being a hands-on mom." Even on social media, Lindsay's tone has changed. Her posts are no longer filled with polished perfection or attention-grabbing headlines. Instead, they're sprinkled with gratitude, glimpses of sunsets, books, and home-cooked meals. When fans comment, she often responds with warmth, thanking them for their love and support. It's a far cry from the Hollywood chaos that once consumed her timeline. NHER connection to her roots remains strong too. She still keeps in touch with family in the US and occasionally returns for visits. But every time she does, it's clear she's found something different abroad, a sense of balance that's been missing for years. "Dubai gives me space to breathe," she once said. "I can focus on what truly matters." And maybe that's why fans have fallen in love with this new chapter of Lindsay's life. Because behind the glamour and headlines, they see something rare, a celebrity who has grown wiser, softer, and happier without the need for validation. For the first time in decades, Lindsay Lohan is living life on her own terms, not the media's, not Hollywood's, not anyone else's. And as her baby bump grows and her smile widens, it's clear she's exactly where she's meant to be. NBUT, the story doesn't end here. Because Lindsay's quiet life in Dubai isn't just a retreat, it's the foundation of something even bigger. A rebirth that proves sometimes the only way to find yourself is to walk away. Once branded Hollywood's lost cause, Lindsay Lohan has done the impossible. She's rewritten her story, and this time, the ending is hers to choose. And there was a time when Lindsay Lohan's name was everywhere, and not for the reason she wanted. Headlines painted her as a cautionary tale, a symbol of fame gone wrong. Every misstep, every mistake was magnified, as if the world had forgotten she was human. But what no one realized then was that Lindsay's story wasn't finished. She was just in the middle of a transformation, one that would take years of silence, strength, and soul-searching to complete. Today, when you see her smile in those serene new photos, it's not the smile of a celebrity posing for approval. It's the smile of a woman who's survived. A woman who's forgiven herself, who's learned that peace doesn't come from applause, but from acceptance. Lindsay's redemption didn't happen overnight. It began quietly, away from the noise, in therapy sessions, private journals, and long conversations with family. It began when she decided to stop fighting the past and start understanding it. "You can't move forward while you're still trying to rewrite what's behind you," she once said. That single line captures everything about her journey. The courage to stop running and start healing. In Hollywood, where comebacks are often carefully staged, Lindsay's feels real. There was no PR team orchestrating a grand reveal, no viral campaign designed to fix her image. Instead, she let time do what fame couldn't, rebuild her naturally. Fans began to notice. Slowly, the narrative changed. She wasn't the troubled starlet anymore. She was a woman growing up in front of millions, making mistakes and learning from them, just like everyone else. NHER recent interviews show a level of self-awareness that feels both refreshing and earned. She speaks with humility, gratitude, and a sense of calm that can only come from surviving chaos. "I've had to learn patience," she shared once, "with life, with people, and with myself. It's a quiet statement, but in those few words lies the wisdom of someone who's been through fire and come out refined. Lindsay's redemption also represents something larger, a cultural shift. The world that once mocked her now celebrates her strength. Fans who grew up watching Mean Girls are older too, and they see her differently. They don't see the tabloid target from the 2000s. They see a woman who endured public shaming, found love, built peace, and is now creating life. It's poetic, really. The same media that once tried to destroy her now shares her photos with admiration. The same voices that doubted her are now cheering her on. And Lindsay, instead of holding bitterness, meets it all with grace. She doesn't need to prove anything. Her piece is proof enough. NHER's story is no longer about Hollywood glamour or lost potential. It's about resilience, about what it means to rebuild yourself when the world has already decided who you are. She reminds us that redemption isn't about pretending the past never happened. It's about owning it, learning from it, and choosing to grow anyway. Now, as she prepares for motherhood, Lindsay stands as a living reminder that even in the darkest seasons, renewal is possible. Her glow isn't just from excitement, it's from the strength that comes after years of struggle. And maybe that's why her comeback feels so different. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's peaceful. The kind of comeback that doesn't need applause because it's already whole. Lindsay Lohan isn't trying to be the girl we remember. She's become the woman we didn't expect. Wiser, grounded, and finally free. NBUT, what does the future hold for her now? Will she ever return fully to Hollywood? Or has she found her true calling somewhere else entirely? Let's explore that next. Lindsay Lohan's story isn't ending. It's only beginning. And this next chapter might be her most inspiring one yet. NNFOR. The first time in a long while, Lindsay Lohan isn't living her life in reaction to the world. She's living it on her own terms. The flashing cameras that once defined her now feel like distant echoes, replaced by the softer sounds of calm mornings, shared laughter, and a love that's real, not performed. As she steps into motherhood, Lindsay isn't just preparing for a baby, she's preparing for a legacy. She's rewriting what it means to be a Hollywood survivor, showing that growth doesn't always mean a blockbuster comeback. Sometimes, it's as simple as peace of mind. And in her own quiet way, she's teaching an entire generation something profound, that healing is not weakness, and privacy is power. In a world obsessed with oversharing, Lindsay has chosen to move gently, to protect her joy instead of performing it. And that's exactly why people are drawn to her again. Her authenticity feels rare, almost refreshing, like a deep breath in a digital age filled with noise. Though she's living far from Los Angeles, her influence remains global. Streaming platforms still reach out, fans still comment, and movie offers still come in. But she's in no rush. Lindsay has said she'll return to acting when the right project comes along. Something that feels meaningful. Something that tells a story worth telling. And if she does, it won't be a comeback. It'll be an evolution. NFOR now. Her focus is family. Her husband, her home, and the little one on the way. She's reportedly been spending her time decorating the nursery, reading parenting books, and cooking homemade meals. Small, tender acts that mark a huge shift from her Hollywood years. The woman who once lived in chaos now finds joy in stillness, and perhaps that's what makes her story resonate so deeply. It's not about glitz or gossip anymore. It's about watching someone reclaim themselves, piece by piece, quietly and beautifully. Fans who grew up quoting her lines from Mean Girls now look at her with respect, admiration, and a touch of nostalgia. They're not just rooting for her career anymore, they're rooting for her happiness. And even the media, which once chased her for scandal, now celebrates her transformation. Articles describe her as, quote, graceful, grounded, glowing. It's as if the world has collectively decided to give Lindsay the peace she always deserved. And maybe that's the real magic of her story, the rare chance to see a public figure outgrow her own narrative. NTHE truth is, Lindsay Lohan doesn't need Hollywood to prove anything. She's already shown that fame doesn't define success. Fulfillment does. She's created a new kind of stardom, one that shines quietly from within. And still, fans can't help but wonder what's next. Could she return to the screen as a mother, channeling her own experience into a powerful role? Or will she continue building a life away from the spotlight, raising her child in tranquility? Only Lindsay knows the answer, and that's the beauty of it. For once, she doesn't owe anyone an explanation. She's free to choose. And as the world watches her smile in those sunlit photos, hands on her belly, eyes full of peace, it feels like a full-circle moment. From teenage fame to public struggle, from chaos to calm, Lindsay Lohan has finally come home to herself. NHER's story reminds us all that it's never too late to change direction, to seek healing, or to start fresh. No matter how hard the past has been, there's always a way forward. If you have the courage to find it. NSO, here's to Lindsay, to growth, to grace, and to the quiet kind of happiness that doesn't need headlines. What do you think of Lindsay's transformation? Are you excited to see what she does next? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories of strength, redemption, and the stars who remind us that new beginnings are always possible.